Hey there, YouTubers! Today we're going to be making a frittata. Now, some of you may be wondering what a frittata is. Well, if you will imagine an omelet as being like a quesadilla, then the frittata is the pizza of the egg world. The way that you make a frittata is basically you cook eggs in a frying pan, then stick it underneath extreme top heat, also known as broiling. Not boiling, broiling. There is a very significant difference, and we'll get into that later. Now, what makes a frittata different from just eggs is that you add stuff to it. Now, the way that I do it might be a little bit different than some other people might do it, but it's the best way I've found to do it. What we're going to do is that you add in ingredients into a frying pan, then pour egg on top of it, then put cheese on top of that, let that cook for a little bit, stick it underneath a broiler, let it cook some more till the top is done. Then you serve it. It's beautiful and delicious. So now that we've gotten out of the way what we're going to be making, let's take a look at what ingredients we're going to be using today. First, you'll need 3 eggs. I'm using mushrooms. Now, these are whole mushrooms. You don't have to use whole mushrooms. You can use sliced or canned. Also, I'm using 1/4 of an onion. So, you'll need a full onion for that. I like to chop it up, personally. Also, I'm using 3 types of cheese. Now, that's a bit overkill, but I happen to have all 3 of them, and I really like them. I'm using sharp cheddar, I'm also using muenster, and I'm also using pepper jack. And bacon! Sorry. So, first you'll need to chop up your ingredients. I like to use mushrooms, so let's chop them. And for the sake of time in this video, boom! Chopped mushrooms. Now, moving on, we'll need to chop up the onion. I'm going to chop this up into quarters first because I don't need a whole onion, so I'm only going to use 1/4 of the onion. This is good because you don't want too much onion because it makes you cry and whatever. Anyway, boom! Chopped onions. Now go cry a little bit. Okay, now we can come back. Let's shred some cheese. We'll grate that cheese, and then we'll grate this cheese, and finally we'll grate that cheese. Once we're done with the cheese, you will move on to the eggs. Scramble the eggs. I use a fork just to beat them. It's very simple. Mix them up nice and good. You'll want to beat them and mix them really well. Halfway through, you'll want to add in some milk. About 2 tablespoons is what I use. And then you'll go back to beating them again. Just mix that all up together. Then you'll want to add some salt and pepper for seasoning. You don't want to put in too much salt and too much pepper, but you don't want to not put in enough, so make sure that you got sort of a good balance going on there, because otherwise you'll mess it up. Mix that all together, and there you go, done with the eggs. Finally, crush up 3 strips of bacon that you've cooked in the microwave. This will be used as a topping of sorts. Next, turn your stove on to medium-low heat and go ahead and get some extra virgin olive oil and put it inside the frying pan. This way we can go ahead and brown the onions and the mushrooms and get those nice and cooked up. So once you're done doing that, go ahead and add in your onions and then add in your mushrooms. And let that all sit for a while and cook and get nice and tasty. Then you'll add in the bacon bits that you've just crushed up. And that'll add to the flavor of the frittata. Mix it all up nice and good. Then once that's cooked for a little bit, throw your egg on top of all of that and let it cook for a while. This is very important. Let the bottom of it get nice and toasty. Once it's gotten about halfway cooked, throw the cheese on top of it. This is very important. This is a very critical time. You're going to throw the cheese on top of it, and once you're done with that, you put it in the broiler. Now, for many of you, you'll have an electric oven at home. For this, the broiler part of your oven will be up here, right at the top. But for the rest of us who have gas ovens, there is typically a little drawer down below. This, my friends, is your broiler. Once you've put it in the broiler, keep a very close eye on it. You want to watch to see when it's nice and bubbly on the top and has a slight brown on it. This way it'll be nice and tasty when you pull it out. Nice and toasty, very good texture to it. When you pull it out of the oven, watch out, it'll be hot, and it should look something like this. You don't want it to be too brown because then it'll be like charcoaly and that's no good. But go ahead, cut it up, and serve it, and enjoy, my friends. And that's how you make a good frittata. I'm Alex Revere, and I'd eat that.